Ah, spring. You know that feeling, right? When the world just kind of bursts with color and life again. But for a whole lot of us, it also means something else is arriving, a kind of invisible storm. In this explainer, we're going to take a journey right into the heart of this beautiful and, for some, pretty challenging time of year. I mean, just look at that. You see that beautiful haze shimmering in the sunlight? It's gorgeous. But here's the thing. It's not just light and air out there. It's actually a cloud made of countless tiny little particles, and every single one is on a mission. So what exactly is this golden dust? Let's dive in. All right, so our story doesn't begin with a sneeze. Nope. It starts at the very source of this whole seasonal show. We're about to zoom way, way in to see exactly where this microscopic storm is born. And here it is. This is literally the engine of plant reproduction. You're seeing flower stamens just releasing billions upon billions of these tiny pollen grains. It's a totally essential part of nature's cycle. It's the promise of new trees, new grass, new flowers. So you got to remember, this isn't an attack. It's an act of creation. But once they're released, these little grains don't just plop onto the ground. Oh no, they take flight. And what starts as a little local event quickly builds into this massive airborne migration. And this isn't just one type of plant doing all the work. It is a full-on airborne armada. You've got trees, think oak, birch, pine, releasing these huge clouds of it. Then the grasses get in on the action, covering entire fields. And finally, weeds like ragweed join the party. All together, they create this really potent, diverse mix. The scale of this is, well, it's just immense. This isn't just a puff of dust. It's more like a current, a vast invisible river flowing on the wind. Get this, a single ragweed plant can release 1 billion, with a B, grains of pollen. And those things are so lightweight they can travel for hundreds of miles. Each one is like a tiny traveler on this epic journey. Okay, so up until now, we've been looking at the outside world, but the perspective is about to shift big time. We are leaving the wide open spaces and we're going on a journey into the microscopic battlefield that can happen inside the human body. So here's the play-by-play of what happens. First step, inhalation. You breathe in and the pollen enters your nose. Step 2, immune alert. Now for some of us, the immune system makes a mistake. It sees this totally harmless pollen and thinks it's a dangerous invader, so it freaks out. That overreaction triggers step 3, histamine release. And that leads directly to step 4, symptoms begin. So what in the world is histamine? Well, you can think of it as your body's internal alarm system. It's a chemical messenger that basically yells, "Go into defense mode." It causes your tissues to swell up to try and flush out this invader. It's the reason you start sneezing and itching and get all congested. It's that alarm system just working a little too well. Okay, now let's pull the camera back out, because that reaction happening inside your body can get way, way worse depending on the conditions in the world outside. It's not just about the pollen itself, but also the environment it's traveling through.
It's like a perfect storm. On one side, you've got all the natural factors, really high pollen counts, super windy days, and dry weather that lets it fly everywhere. But then you add in the human factors. And here's a wild fact. Particles from urban pollution can actually grab onto pollen grains, creating what some scientists call a super allergen. It's even more irritating to our bodies.
And the result of all this? Well, it's an experience that millions and millions of us share every single year. From kids trying to play in the park to adults just trying to get to work. You know, allergies really don't discriminate. They're this common thread that's woven through the season for so many of us.
But hey, this isn't a story without some hope. We humans are incredibly adaptive. So for this last part, let's look at the solutions. Let's talk about how we navigate this gale and find ways to, breathe a little easier. Really, it all comes down to being aware and being prepared. We can adapt just by checking the daily pollen forecasts. On really bad days, maybe we stay inside. Simple things like masks and sunglasses can create a physical barrier. But probably the most important thing is just understanding your own personal triggers and learning how to adapt to the very air you breathe. So we've seen the whole journey, from the flower all the way to our own bodies and our response from alarm to adaptation. But it kind of leaves us with one last big question. In a world where our climate is changing, where growing seasons are getting longer and shifting, will this microscopic gale ever really settle down? Or is it maybe just getting started?